Hey love bugs, welcome back to another Tarot Lover Reviews. Today we are taking a look at the Arcanum Tarot. This was created by Renita Letcher and written by Jamie Alford. So if you've heard of this tarot deck or you haven't heard of this tarot deck, hopefully this review and the flip through that comes afterwards helps you to decide on whether or not this tarot deck is right for you. Now, if you want to go straight to the flip through, take a look down in the description below. I break down all of the suits into chapters to make it easier for you to locate exactly where you would like to start in the flip through. But right now we are going to talk about the packaging, we're going to talk about the guidebook, and we're going to talk about the cards, cardstock, the backings, the imagery, naming convention. So if you're interested in the details, stick around. Otherwise, feel free to head on over to the flip through. So let's go ahead and talk about the packaging. So this is the front portion as you saw here. Okay. And the publisher for this tarot deck is Los Scarabeo Publishing. So you can definitely find this on their website, or you can find this at any online store. I believe I've seen this on Amazon. I believe I picked this up at a spiritual shop that I was at not recently. I've had this for a bit, which you'll notice the little scuffle marks on this deck because I have used it. I use all of my tarot decks that I share with you guys. Some of these tarot decks I've had for a while, ever since I started reading tarot, which was about 4 years ago. So some of these tarot decks are well loved because I love using all of the tarot decks that I purchase. I don't necessarily just collect tarot decks. I love to utilize them. So the box opens as so, and this is the interior, pretty straightforward. And again, the box is very thick, which means if I keep my tarot deck in this packaging and it falls to the floor, I know this box will protect my tarot deck. So I'm all for having packaging that can protect the cards, especially if the user decides to keep it in the original packaging. So that is the packaging. Let's talk about the guidebook. So this is what the guidebook looks like. Okay. And when it comes to the information within the book, you get with each card. Okay, so it would be helpful if I showed you what it looked like. So I know you can't really see all the words, but this kind of gives you an idea of what you can expect within the book. It does not have any pictures, as you can see, but it's not necessarily needed. It's just a convenience situation, right, when it comes to the guidebooks. But as you notice, the book is rather thick, but that does not mean that the entire book goes over each individual card. Because it's Los Scarabeo as the publisher, they are known for making sure that their guidebooks are in multiple languages. And I believe this will tell me, yes, okay, so the last one I always get, I'm not sure, and I should look this up, but I'll show you a picture of the last language, and you guys can let me know what that is. But it comes in English, Italian, Spanish, French, and then here is the last one. I want to say that's like, I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce it, but let me know in the comments below what language that is. I can definitely Google it, but I always enjoy, you know, what you guys think that particular language is. Okay, so let's talk what you're going to get within the guidebook. So each card, I was going to say each form, each card comes with a kind of like a little quote, and then like a paragraph worth of a description about that particular card, and then you have upright and reversal meanings. that you can use. So you will find that on every single card in this guidebook, which is fantastic. I love the fact that you get a lot of information within the guidebook for each of the cards. You get an overall feel for it and then keywords that you can utilize. Also, let me kind of, yeah. Okay. Also, you do get a tarot spread in the guidebook, which is always a plus in my book, because I will always appreciate when there is a tarot spread, even if it's a simple one card spread. Just having that option in the guidebook, I feel, is really important, because if you are a new tarot reader, you're not going to know exactly where to look for different tarot spreads, you know, and it always helps when you have it within the guidebook of the tarot deck that you have. It's nice to have it on the ready, if that makes sense. So that is the guidebook. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cards. So this is the background of the card. Okay, and as you can see, it is gloss finish. So it's very shiny, very slippery for sure, but you can always get the fanning powder to kind of eliminate the glossiness and the sliding of the cards. It kind of makes it a lot easier to kind of keep everything together. So that is the fact that it has the gloss in it. The cardstock. The cardstock, I say, is a good cardstock, maybe a tad into a little bit of the thicker side. You definitely feel it when you hold the deck in your hands and you go to shuffle it. I always use the riffle shuffle or the poker style shuffle as an example, because really the cardstock, it's all about cardstock. So if the cardstock is too thick, it makes it very hard to bend the cards to shuffle in that way, right? If the cardstock is just right, then it makes it a lot easier to bend your cards and be able to shuffle in that manner. Now, I'm not saying that you have to shuffle in that way. There are a ton of different ways that you can shuffle your cards. You can do that riffle shuffle. You can do the under over shuffle. I know I've seen some clients, some readers go, you know, from front to back and do it that way. It's whatever works for you. I personally tend to change the way that I shuffle depending on the tarot deck that I'm using because of the cardstock. I'm always for trying to keep my cards in the best condition as possible, because I want to be able to keep it for as long as possible. So yeah, that is the cardstock. Now let's go ahead and talk about the naming convention and the imagery when it comes to this tarot deck. Let's see how I totally forgot exactly how I want. I've done this so many times, you would think I would know exactly how my flow was going to work. So when I go into these two particular items, the imagery and the naming convention, I am always basing this information off of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. The reason why I do this is because a lot of the guidebooks out there that you can purchase separately from your tarot decks is highly pulled from, highly inspired by the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So a lot of the imagery that you will see in some of these guidebooks, some of the naming conventions that you see within the guidebook are mainly based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, because that's typically what a lot of the tarot readers will start off with. So that is one of the reasons why I do that. And then on top of that, there are so many other tarot decks out there that you can purchase that are highly inspired by the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, you know, the imagery and the naming convention. So that's why I do these reviews, to make sure that you know what type of tarot deck you're going to receive before you actually buy it. So yeah, let's get into it. So when it comes to the naming convention, major arcana and minor arcana, they are exactly the same as the Rider-Waite-Smith. So major arcana through the Fool through the World is exactly the same. For the minor arcana, they are the same as far as the suits go. So it is Pentacles, Cups, Wands, and Swords. The court cards are exactly the same as well. Again, like I said, some tarot decks decks will rename certain suits. They may rename all of the suits. They may rename some of the court cards. So I always find that it is very helpful to mention these things for you guys. So that's the naming convention. Let's go ahead and talk about the imagery. The imagery within this tarot deck is beautiful. If you are geared more towards realism imagery, definitely suggest the Arcanum Tarot, because that's exactly what you get. You get realistic characters within each of these cards. It's easier to relate to, especially if you can, you know, visualize these people as real people in real life. And it just, I don't know, it just adds an additional layer to the reading when you feel like the cards, the imagery that you see within these cards are more relatable. You know, you can definitely relate them into certain situations. Whereas if you were to use something that was more cartoony or more anime, you may find it a little bit harder to relate to because they don't look as realistic as you would like them to. So that's one thing that I love about this tarot deck. Another thing, well, let's talk about whether or not it follows the Rider-Waite-Smith. It does follow the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. It may have a slight difference to it because it's trying to stick with the theme of this particular tarot deck, but you will definitely see similarities within these cards. So some may be the same, some may be changed slightly, but still, when you look at that card, you know exactly what that card is trying to depict. And the fact that it does have, you know, stories on every single card and it's not a pip deck just makes it 10 times better, because I love it when each card tells a story. I have a very hard time reading pip decks. If you are interested in knowing what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments and I can explain further. But I just find it hard to read those because I don't resonate with those ones as much. But I can still read them if I wanted to. But anyways, back to the imagery. So yes, it does follow. It does have hints, vibes of the original Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. I would say the only thing that bothers me is the tone or the tones, the color tones used within this deck is very darker toned colors, which kind of makes it gloomy to me, which, I mean, it doesn't bother me, but then it does bother me. It gives off a very oil painting kind of vibe, as if an oil painting came to life. That's the vibe that you get from this tarot deck. I don't use it as much because of the gloss. The gloss cards tend to bother me, but that's a me thing, not a you thing or the tarot deck's fault. It's just, that's how it was set up. But other than that, I definitely feel like all of the cards are relatable and definitely can be used. There isn't anything that I feel that needs to be brought up other than that. But you be the judge. Take a look at the flip through that is coming up next. And yeah, if you found this review helpful in any way, leave a like and take a look at my channel. Let me know if there are any other tarot decks that you don't see that I've done a review on that you might be interested in seeing. Let me know down in the comments what the name of that tarot deck is. I'll check to see if I don't already have that tarot deck. Sometimes I typically do because I have a lot of tarot decks to go over. But if I don't have it, I'll definitely look into it and see if it's something that I would like to add to my collection. Oh, I will say with this particular tarot deck, there are a couple of other tarot decks, kind of like a sister deck, that are available as well. So you have the Arcanum Tarot, you have the Thelema, something like that, tarot, Thelema, is the tarot name, or the tarot deck's name. And then there's a Thoth version as well. Definitely, if you search up Jamie Elford's name, you can probably find their work in other tarot decks. I'm just trying to bring it up close enough so you guys can see that. And yeah, look them up. Take a look at the other tarot decks. I know the Lemma Tarot is brighter tones, whereas this one is definitely like an oil painting type of tone. But yeah, I know the other one has lighter tones, and the other one, the Thoth one, gives off Thoth vibes, but with their artwork. I love their artwork. Definitely beautiful, realistic, if that is the type of vibe that you prefer when it comes to your tarot cards. So yeah, without further ado, here is the flip through. Enjoy, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.